What up guys, SuperMetal983 here bringing you another CD review. I've got a review of an album that's kind of causing a bit of controversy, maybe of mixed emotions in the metal community in 2018. So I thought, you know what, I might as well pop out my camera and do my thoughts on this album. But yeah, this is what I'm going to be reviewing for you today. Yeah, this is the new album from the band Parkway entitled Reverence. This is released under Epitaph Records. Now, you may be very familiar with Parkway. They are fast becoming one of the most overpowering and biggest metalcore bands in the whole world of metal these days. Based out of Australia, they've got six albums now under their belt, and I myself have been a big fan for many years now. Personally, my favourite being Deep Blue. Now, I know that's kind of it's either tossed up usually between Horizons or Deep Blue, like which one's the personal favourite of Parkway Drive fans. But yeah, that's my personal favourite. But I love all their albums. Killing with a Smile was incredible. Horizons, classic. Deep Blue, the best album in my opinion. And Atlas, yeah, absolutely amazing album once again. Their last album, Aya, was kind of a little bit of a different ball game compared to what we've heard from previous Parkway Drives. Parkway Drive, for most knowledge of people, has been that melodic metalcore band that brings the aggression but still brings the memorable riffs and the memorable vocal patterns, and something you can really enjoy when it comes to metalcore. And I personally feel did that justice in collaborating that, but it was a different kind of kettle of fish compared to Atlas, Deep Blue, Horizons, and Killing with a Smile. It was more taking influences from other genres, maybe a bit of new metal in there, maybe a bit of rock, alternative metal kind of vibes in there as well. But it still had quite a couple of songs with the kind of Parkway Drive known sound that had been known from the previous albums. And people were quite, I should say, concerned that that was going to be the new direction for Parkway Drive. And now we get to 2018 with the arrival of their 6th album, which I've said, called Reverence. Now, obviously, as you can see, this is the signed edition that I got through Amazon, and there's the artwork right there. I have to say, I really like the artwork. There's a lot going on in there, and with the emblem that they've got on the cover and on the back here, I think it looks pretty cool, if you ask me. And quite frankly, I was really looking forward to this album. The singles that dropped, I think the first track that they dropped was Wishing Wells, which is the first track on this one, and quite frankly, I absolutely love that song. And I could tell it was a completely different kettle of fish compared to the last album, but I still feel like that was kind of like a teaser of what to expect, because it definitely took the elements from Aya that people were like had mixed feelings about, and they basically adapted on that and made it their new the Parkway Drive sound. So that was kind of like a teaser. And then I believe they dropped the song, I believe it was Pray, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, or it might have been The Void. Oh, it was The Void, sorry, my bad. They dropped The Void, which was an even more off the path kind of song compared to what Parkway Drive has done on the previous album. So people were like, is this going to be the new Parkway Drive sound? And then just before the album's released, they released a song, which I've just said there, called Prayer. And Prayer, for me personally, is so far my favourite song on this album. Like, personally, to me anyway, I think it just offers a lot more. It's catchy, it's anthemy, and it's definitely a song that's going to get the atmosphere pumping up at a gig, if you ask me. And that's one thing that I'm really looking forward to, is when Parkway Drive announce the European UK tour. I'm fucking going, I don't care what anyone says. But anyway, so it really made us look forward to this new album, and I knew straight away that this was going to be something along what was the iffier parts for people on the last album. It was just going to be that and them broadening into a new era for Parkway Drive. But just before, I'd just like to drop this in there. Winston McCall, the singer, he did an interview just before the album was released, and he said to him in the interview, he said that Parkway Drive doesn't want to be known as just, oh, Parkway Drive, it's a metalcore band, isn't it? They don't want to be under that reference anymore. They want to be known as, when you hear them, like, you don't want you to go like, oh, it's metalcore. They want you to go, that's Parkway Drive, and get basically the Parkway Drive sound going. And in my opinion, they've personally done it with this album. This is definitely something new to me, and definitely something that crosses everything that I expected from a Parkway Drive adaptation of a new record, and them defining themselves as themselves rather than I don't mean this in an insulting way, but like just another metalcore band. They wanted to be known as Parkway Drive. Personally, I think with this album, they've still got the catchy melodies, and they are definitely one of the most I'd say personally genius when it comes to metalcore. Really, like the melodicness that they pull off kind of feels in vein of like the likes of Killswitch Engage. Killswitch Engage pulls off the melody so perfectly. I think Parkway Drive is up there with those, is pulling off the melody just so perfect. It just feels so fresh when listening to it. It's not obviously like a freshness as in like oh, it's something new. It just feels like just exhilarating to listen to and overall. But anyway, but this album, in my personal opinion, I think it takes on a bit more of a, this one takes the kind of alt rock kind of, as I said, new metal-y kind of influence that they had a little bit on the last album, and just made that their entire sound. And this is definitely Parkway Drive as we've never ever heard them before. I think the songs on this album are very memorable, very catchy, and definitely I think it's weird. It kind of it's like new metal core alternative rock in an essence. That's the overall atmosphere I get from this album. It's definitely something that's a bit more I don't want to say it because I don't really like this term at all, like radio friendly. It's definitely not I hear that term, but it kind of feels like it. But that doesn't take away from the fact that I absolutely adore this album. And I mean, I love Deep Blue, Horizons, and Killing With a Smile, and Atlas just as much as the next guy. But I felt like the last album, I would have liked to seen where they went. It wasn't a case of like, oh, I want the old Parkway Drive, but I wanted to see where they would go. And I think personally with this album, they've added a lot more to it. It still has the same catchy melodies that hook your attention and create great atmospheres, but the grooves and overall vibes that you get on this album just create such a very lively atmosphere when you listen to it, especially on the songs Prayer and The Void. They're definitely catchy songs, and I feel like personally Winston McCall, for all when I think of Winston McCall, I think of the likes of Karma when he's doing the powerful, obviously low vocals that he's done, the shouts and stuff that he's being done for. I'm starting to now picture him more doing this sort of stuff. It's kind of like got a bit of a new metal-y rap kind of influence in there. There's a lot of bits that kind of remind us, and I know this was a reference to the last album, but there was a lot of people saying it kind of reminds of King A10, for example. That kind of rap, kind of like spoken word sort of stuff, but with a little bit of grit just behind it, just to give it a bit more emotion behind it, which I really think adds a lot to this album. And it kind of, in some ways, it's like taking elements from the past and then bringing it forward, and I think that really adds to the overall feels of this album, makes it that, you know, enjoyable to listen to. But it still has the meat. It still has some grit. There's still some metalcore breakdowns, but they're not exactly breakdowns like dun 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 dun. No, you know, there's not really any essence of that on this album. These are more heavy breakdowns. They're just more riffy orientated, and that's something that I really do enjoy a lot, and I find I've been liking a lot more in the past 2 years. Yeah, I look for money riffs and riffs that make you smile and put a good feeling in yourself and make you happy to be listening to a good album. And I think I can see why people would be put off from this album, but I still feel like this album definitely is a very enjoyable album to listen to, and it's going to get people to listen to Parkway Drive. It's more for people wanting to get into metalcore and stuff. I'd say this is a great starting point to listen to, and then easing back through their discography to then get into the more aggressive sort of stuff. That's the way I picture it. And personally, I think not taking that doesn't take anything away from the album, because I really, really enjoy this album. There's some fantastic songs besides Wishing Wells, Prayer, and The Void. I absolutely love Absolute Power. That is an absolutely amazing song. Cemetery Bloom, that lead up, it's quite calm and kind of has a bit of a new metal kind of vibe, and then goes into Void, and then the riffs come in with that dun, 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 dun. Oh, it just sounds so good, if you ask me. It's memorable as hell and powerful as hell. And what's the Shadowbox and I Hope You Rot as well. Excellent songs. In fact, this whole album's great. One of my personal favourite of the songs that they haven't released so far has to be, I believe it's pronounced Kronos, the 9th track. It's a longer one, it's 6 minutes, 20 seconds, which I believe is the longest song on this album, but I think that's an epic atmosphere. The progression in that is just overall amazing. Very thick guitar tones, very beefy, but the melodies, as I said, they soar beautifully and create great atmospheres overall across the entire progression of this album, and that's one thing that I've always loved Parkway Drive for, and I'll never give up on them because their melodies, in my opinion, are some of the kings in metal in general, if you ask me. But as I said, a lot of riffs on here to enjoy, and Winston's vocals are excellent, and I feel like his clean vocals on this album are beautiful. Actually, there's a lot of variation when it comes to the vocals, from his low vocals that he's done on the older stuff to his rappy sort of new metal kind of influence to his spoken word, and I do enjoy his proper cleans on especially the song The Colour of Leaving, which is the last track on this album, and it really sets out the album into the horizon with absolute beauty and passion. And I think this is a very passionate album, and I can see the evolution, and they wanted to do something more what they wanted to sound like, and rather than go for just, oh, let's sound like metalcore, let's sound like us. And they've crafted an absolute masterpiece, if you ask me. I know I was in my top albums for the year it came out, which I can't remember what year that was, but I think that one started to decline a little bit, in my personal opinion, because I haven't listened to it an awful lot since then. But I have to say, I think Reverence is up there as being one of my favourites. I just love the catchiness. I love the overall atmosphere. It just feels like a very good, enjoyable record. For all it might not be up to everyone's taste compared to the old stuff, or even in general, I really enjoy it, and I know from performance footage that they are going to execute when I finally see them live performing songs from this album. For an overall score, I'm going to give this a solid 9 out of 10. Excellent album to listen to. Make sure you check it out. I'll leave links in the description. A couple of songs, I'll probably leave links to Wishing Wells, Pray and The Void, and I'll also, I believe the album streams up on Epitaph's YouTube channel, so I'm going to link Kronos in there, and I might link another one, I haven't decided. But there'll probably be a live stream of the full album at some point down there, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, make sure you check out Parkway Drive's album, Reverence, released on the Epitaph Records. Solid 9 out of 10. They're their own band now, and they have crafted the Parkway Drive sound. And let us know what you think. Do you think this is the most disappointing album of the year? I don't think so in any way, shape or form. Or do you think, yeah, I respect Parkway Drive's view and I really dig it? That's my personal view. So what's yours? Leave comments down below, leave a like, and also make sure to subscribe, because a load more videos are coming up very, very soon. And I'll see you until the next video, and remember, stay metal, and I'll see you later.